men do not compete with other men. They're kind of patting each other on the back, and now they're not exactly going to help each other out either, but they don't do this competition thing that we've done, and it's getting better. I think it's meaningfully better in towns of this size. It's kind of a mid-sized town. We have a lot of women's group that you and I will see each other at. We love to help each other out. And I think that is getting better over the course of time. And that's what that obstacle needs to get cleared in order for women founders to help other women founders out, is our own obstacle, regardless of whether you live in Omaha or Los Angeles or Nashville or wherever.
With as hard as life can be, I wouldn't ask to change a thing. Everything I've been through brought me closer to you. You worth it.
Hello, and welcome to LFG with AQi. I'm Amy Konwinski, your host, and today we're here with Jennifer DiMotta. She is an amazing entrepreneur, a helper of entrepreneurs, and she has her own business called Uprisors Growth Partners. And so welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm so good.
Awesome.
So excited to be here with you.
Yeah, I know.
Yay.
I'm excited. This is the first time. We've talked quite a few times, but we've never done it in front of cameras. So that's always kind of fun. The camera, right? So tell me just a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about your background. Kind of share that with the crowd.
Yeah, I'm an Omaha native, and but I did leave for 18 years. So I grew up here, went to school here, had my daughter here. And then I wanted to get out of Omaha, and I never thought I'd be back, but here I am. But anyway, so I left for 18 years. I basically went across 7 businesses in every different city across the United States, even went over to Germany for a little while, and helped those businesses grow aggressively and sustainably. And I kind of realized after that 18 years, I really had something. So I'd put together my own playbook, essentially. Over that time, I made all kinds of super mistakes, and I also made all kinds of super wins. And then, as soon as I kind of thought about it, I stepped back, zoomed out, and said, okay, well, I've really got a good playbook here, but do I want to do 7 businesses in the next 18 years, or would I rather do 700 businesses in the next 18 years? And who do I really want to focus on? Which you and I are going to talk about, because I really want to focus on female founders going forward, and that's what I've been doing. So Uprisors Growth Partners has been around for probably about 7 years. Formally, more like 5 years, but I've been doing the actual work before all of my Uprisors branding got started, essentially. And I moved back to Omaha 2.5 years ago, and I'm so glad I did, because I get to meet people like you and your partner, Molly, and then all kinds of amazing women entrepreneurs right here in Omaha, which I think is fabulous. Yeah.
What gave you the idea for the Uprisors Growth Partners? Like, where did the brand idea come from? And what was the trigger point where you're like, I need to fucking fix this? Right? Because like there's probably some good stories there of like what's working, what's not working, and how can you make sure that you interject to give people the tools they need?
Well, I know what I'm really good at, and one of those things is not coming up with cool branding. So essentially, I wrote out a description on a crowdsourced site, and I said, I need some help coming up with this idea. Yeah. And the whole concept was, yes, I want to help women founders aggressively grow their businesses, or if they already have BHAGs, I want to help them figure out how they go from here to there. And BHAGs meaning big, hairy, audacious goals, right?
Oh, I love that.
You haven't
I've
heard
never
of BHAG?
I've never heard of that before. That's fantastic.
BHAG.
Big, hairy, aggressive goals.
I absolutely love founders with BHAGs.
Yeah.
But usually what happens is they need the path on how to get there, and that's where I come in. But anyway, backing up, I thought, I've got this idea, I've got this vision, I want to go out and help as many businesses as possible. I've got the playbook. I've proven it now 7 times over, and I just don't know what to call my company name. I have no idea. So I'm going through, I don't know, probably 1,500 names, and it's like no. And all of a sudden, Uprisors comes up, and I sort of went past it, and then I went back to it again, and I asked my husband, and he's like, and it really, to me, it feels good because it's all about rising up others, essentially. It's just sort of turned around in a
The
different
wind
way.
beneath your wings.
Yes.
Just like.
So
getting
my
them up.
clients are uprisers. I'm
Okay.
the chief upriser. I mean, I'm sort of just played off of it the whole time.
That's great.
Yeah.
How do you know when you meet somebody if they're going to be successful or not? Like, is there like a special sauce or like a some kind of like talent that they might have or like a personality that makes a good entrepreneur?
Well, I think there's a couple things, and it's really, you could be successful in your own right, no matter what, right? It could be a founder success. It could be just executive success. It could be, you know, being what you want to be. Maybe you want to be the most successful mom on the planet. And I think one of the things that makes anyone really successful is the ability to listen and accept feedback from others. So when people listen and accept feedback from others, think about how much more information they're receiving that they can now filter through and make decisions on. If you hold yourself back from taking that feedback, you really have a limited scope on life, and you're probably not going very far in the end. So a lot of and you know, it takes a lot to hire a business coach or a founder coach or CEO coach, and it takes a lot more to hire someone like me who's probably going to really give it to you.
Yeah.
You know, but I always give it to you because the bottom line is if I tell you exactly what you need to do to improve your business and you listen, it will happen. And you may not like it in the moment, but you are going to love it as it plays out and you see your business respond really well to it.
How do you see the difference between giving that feedback between a female and a male? I'm going to ask a really generalized question.
Yeah.
Do women have the ability to take the feedback and pivot in a greater response than a man sometimes?
It all depends on the way you're giving the feedback. I think sometimes women do need it a little bit softer in the beginning. And this is so overgeneralized, but it is true for about 80% of the time. So, you know, some of us are masculine women and some men are more feminine men, essentially, right? And so it kind of doesn't depend on the actual gender, but on just kind of how you operate and how you receive feedback. And that's part of my job. I always tell my clients in the first 30 to 60 days, I'm observing. So what I'm doing in 30 to 60 days is I'm taking in feedback. I am looking at how they're receiving feedback currently. I'm looking at how their listening skills play out. I'm looking at how they communicate. And I also give them assessments because I want to make sure when I give them feedback, it can be received. And so I need to come to the table and come where they are versus me just giving the same exact feedback to whether it's a masculine individual or feminine individual. I'm just going to give it the same way. That won't work. You know, I've got to understand who that person is and then give them, because really sometimes the feedback is exactly the same.
Yeah.
For two totally different founders, I have to deliver it in different ways.
So you're really using kind of mirroring and reflecting. You're going to meet their energy.
Yeah,
like what they can hear or not.
I will absolutely meet their energy because you know, I mean, I'm strong, I'm bold, I'm assertive. Some people can't handle that, and they know. I sort of slowly have that creep up because over the course of time, they do need to see me in an authentic way, which allows them to receive feedback faster, and it allows us to get to outcomes faster, which is what they really want in the end. But I do take my time on the front end because no one wants to get slapped over the face with, you know, aggressive or assertive Jennifer.
I mean,
not very many people do.
Have you made people
and that's
cry?
totally fine. I haven't made people cry, but many people have cried on my sessions. Because, and this is the good part, is I earn trust. I focus on earning trust and credibility over the course of time. And what happens is that people get on and sometimes they just start crying or they cry throughout because they have now felt some freedom in talking to me. You know,
there has to be trust there. Yes.
Oh, I'm a source for CEOs and founders who cannot, you know, it's a lonely world at the top.
Yeah, it is.
They got no one to talk to if they're having struggles. And so I'm there to have that to talk to. And so sometimes they'll start a sentence and they'll just start crying because they needed that outlet. they needed to cry, you know, and I'm all about that. Like, get it out. With me, especially, get it out. I don't care if you're angry, if you're yelling, not at me, but yelling about something. I'm all about the emotions because that's why I'm there. I'm there to give them an outlet for when times get tough, which times always get tough when you're in business.
Yeah, really great perspective.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of the work that you do? What does that look like exactly? Like, kind of give me an example of a client that you've worked with and what you do specifically for that client.
Yeah, so I've had some clients for 3, 4, 5 years, and I have some new clients, but I always start them out the same way. Well, first of all, sometimes we definitely always start with a coffee, some sort of loose conversation.
You need to make sure that this is going to be a good fit.
Yeah, the dynamic has to be good,
Yeah.
and it really has to feel good for them and for me, both. We're both sort of, lack of better words, interviewing each other.
Yeah.
But we are just getting to know each other. And so it's not like, I don't want to dive right in and start talking about your business. I want to know about you because you're a person and I want to understand you. And then, you know, we naturally start forming a little bit more conversation and I start understanding, like, why did you start this? What's your end goal? Things like that, right? And we may end that conversation with yet another conversation, just another coffee.
Yeah.
Usually it does. To me, I think 2 to 3 coffees, lunches, whatever it is really ideal because we really just need to get to know each other. It's going to be a very special, but very deep relationship, long range. So we don't want to cut it off too short on the front end. But then after that, if it makes a lot of sense to the client and me, we will go into sort of an assessment period. It gives us now a new chance to say, are we both seeing your business the same way? And I go through 4 different areas I look at in the assessment. I look at their team. I'm a big people first person. I think once you get the people right, everything else gets a heck of a lot easier.
Yes.
So I look at their people. I particularly look at their leadership team. I'm a believer even more so at the leadership level. You've got to have an A+ team, or you've got to be open to have an A+ team eventually, or there's got to be potential there to be an A+ team. So I do an assessment on the people, then I do an assessment on the operation. If you want to go, like we've got a client that wants to go from 4 million to 40 million in 5 years. Okay, that's pretty dramatic. And that requires, you know, the A+ leadership team is what we start with. And then we're going to move into operational scale. They're usually operationally a mess. They think they have SOPs up the wazoo sitting in the folder somewhere not being utilized, or it's high founder dependency. Everything starts and ends with the founder. The founder decides what to do, gives it to people, and then when it needs to be finalized and decided on, putting it out there into the universe, then the founder has to pick it back up. And that's too heavy founder dependency. You can't go to 40 million with that type of founder dependency. And that's sitting right in the operations. So I do an operations assessment, like here's where you are today, here's where I think you need to be. Let's say, you know, a third of the way through that, to that 40 million, 2/3, and so on. And then I go to strategic side. Do you have a strategy? Most of the time people don't. They think they have a strategy. They deliver a strategy to me. I just had a $50 million business that I just picked up with delivering 2 different strategic plans inside the assessment, because I'm currently on the assessment phase. And both of them are not strategies. One is to get more operationally right size so they can scale. That's great. I'm glad they're doing it, not a strategy, but definitely a good thing to do. And the other one is a list of tactics, not a strategy. So that's okay, because those types of things give me a good understanding of what's going on. So they either have that or they have nothing at all. So I'm looking for strategic differentiation and focus. Those are really the 2 things, because we got to be competitive in the end, and we got to know who we are. Who are we in this world? Who are we? And then the last is financial governance. I'm going to wrap strategy and ops and leadership around financial governance. Financials is going to govern this whole thing. And so do you have a pro forma? Do you compare your actuals against your budget? When you do, what do you talk about? And so I go through all 4 of these things. I deliver assessment, a current state, here's where I think it needs to be, future state, and then here's where I can help. And then that usually translates into a longer term contract. And if we see the business the same way. Along the way, I'm doing stakeholder discussions, so I am getting a better insight into how I kind of poke some things out there. Like I might talk about the A+ team and say, what do you think of this person right here? And I might think after a few conversations that I'm not really sure. Or this person over here, I think high potential. Man, we need to over leverage this person. I want to see if the founder CEO is on the same page as me. And then I go through the other pillars that same way.
So the majority of the companies you work with, are they already established companies? Or
For the most part.
For the most part. Do you ever work with startups?
I do in a capacity of voluntary. So like I'm doing the startup. I think you're doing it too. You and I are doing startup weekend.
We are. Yes. Next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend.
For Open Range.
Yes.
So I do it in a voluntary capacity. So I did J-Tank at the Creighton University. So I was a judge there. I've gone and talked to both the UNO and the UNL entrepreneur students who have
I just had
super
drinks
cool.
with Lindsay last night from UNL.
Yeah.
She was
I love
raving
her.
about you. She was like, oh my God, I
She
love
was?
it. Yeah, she's like, I love Jennifer. And I'm like, oh, I need to invite you to the Mahjong thing that we need to get together.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
want to do that. So, so she invited Molly and I to UNL.
Yes.
And I will always do that. I will always
love to do that
commit
too.
my time to startups, but no, I don't think it makes sense for them, for them to pay me, because I'm in the later phases of that. So I like to see a product or a service establish some demand. Like you've got to show that you've got demand for your product and service. That's a minimum to me.
Yeah.
And then I think you need to have a few people. So you've got to have some semblance of a team. Then you got to have those big desires of, now I'm like, even if I'm at 1 million, I want to get to 10, and I want to get to 10 in 3 years. You got to have that desire, so that when I come in and say, I have a plan for you to get to 10, or 10 to 50, or 50 to 250, you are ready to receive that plan, essentially.
So recently we both went to same talk that we were listening to a woman talk about women and wealth and like how we manage wealth. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, it was.
But one of the things that I learned from that was by 2030, women are going to control the most of the wealth in the United States.
Yeah.
I had never heard that before. Had you ever heard that before?
Oh yeah.
That was the first time. Molly and I are looking at each other. We're like, what? I'm like, LFG, like,
Great.
let's go, right? So what does that look like for you when you're working with these companies and generationally they're moving from founder to the next generation, these family companies? Are you seeing a lot of that and the friction that can come with that?
I am. I have a couple examples. So the one actually I just took on is the daughter of the founder. Founder passed last year. Daughter is now the CEO, and she is, the main business owner. And there's some big differences going on here. So dad was your typical tops down leader. So he's your typical
do as I say,
no questions, and I will take care of you. Still, it's got a little bit of charisma with it, because that's why some people really like that, because some people don't want to make decisions and some people just want to do at the end of the day. And they actually really enjoy that. And so that those companies get full of people like that.
And they built an organization that's based around
That's
that
the
philosophy.
Yep.
And now she inherits this business.
Yep. And she wants to move a whole different direction, right? And that is another scenario that I'm really good at. Is that massive change in culture in order. Now she wants to more than 2x this business, but we've got a massive culture change to deal with. And a lot of it exists at her leadership level. Now her and a couple of my other clients have another issue that women are grappling with. Because these people are used to just doing, that's what they've been told their whole life, that's their rhythm. Now she's asking to level them up to A+ leadership. There's a massive gap going on. So I have a framework I use. It includes 19 leadership competencies and how we get you from where that type of leadership is more functionally driven. They know their function, whether it's like HR or finance or safety or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
And they need to get to enterprise level leadership team. And that is a massive gap. And some people won't make it.
So is that function to collaboration?
Some of it's collaboration, but some of it's strategic thinking.
Okay.
Some of it's understanding financials. I mean, financials in the end, everybody's like, oh, I want to be people first and not profit first. Well, listen, here's the reality of business. If you're profit first, you can be people first.
Yeah.
If you are not profitable, you can't be people first because unless you're a bazillionaire pulling it out of your own pocket. And that's still not a business in the end. That's just a charity.
Yeah.
So I'm really big on teaching people that there's a lot of value in profit, but that we need to understand what profit is. Not everybody understands profit. Actually, a lot of people don't understand what profit is. So teaching them those 4 pillars I talked about, we need to level up that leadership team to help them understand the value of those 4 pillars and how they are going to be involved and accountable to those 4 pillars. And like I said, some of them make it, some of them don't.
Yeah.
In the end.
Are you running into clients that want to just hand it all over to AI?
No.
No? Are you looking at like incorporating AI at all
Oh yeah,
at this point?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because some of the lower level work or even some of the mid work is repeatable. I mean, it should have been automated a while ago. So now you just skip over the automation and you go straight to AI, right? So some of these companies are still doing a lot of manual stuff. And yes, we need, for the operational scale, that second pillar, AI is crucial. Also, you can use AI in a really good way to help you get more differentiated and focused in your strategy. And that's another way I use AI. It's just to pressure test our strategy a bit more. It also helps a little bit in taking these eyesores of financials and condensing it down to summaries.
Yes.
So that people understand quickly what is good about our actuals today, this month or this quarter, what is not so good. So, because then it saves us a ton of time from analyzing the financials and moving on to where we really need to spend our time, which is what are we going to do about it and actually make the plan to do something with that.
Yeah.
So AI has its value. I don't hear anyone saying, we're just going to completely use AI and we're going to drop people off the face of this earth and like, bye-bye. No, I don't see that a whole lot right now. Maybe we'll see that in the future,
I think
but I don't see that right now.
Meta is heading that way in some things. You saw
Probably.
that recently they
But they're
let
a
off
technology company.
8,000 people. And they have 7,000 people that are just like they're like
also
trading their
pretty fat.
agents. Yeah.
I mean, they really need to cut a lot of fat in the end too. But yeah, they're a technology company. They should lead with AI, those kinds of things. A lot of the companies I work with, one of their highest value propositions is high touch. And in the end, I think humans still have to own the component of high touch. If that's going to be your value prop and your clients love that, so you will receive demand by having that value prop out there, then your bridge is how do you use AI so humans now can spend more time on the high touch versus all the stupid stuff that they do behind the scenes and then they squeeze out the high touch with their clients.
Yeah.
So that's how we use AI.
I could see that.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to a female that's wanting to start a business and she's coming into it alone?
Yeah. So before you find anybody, really think about what you're best in the world at and what the world really wants and needs and what they're going to pay for, essentially. And I would, you and I are part of a lot of women's groups, right? So I've got a gal, actually, she came to me to be for leadership coaching. She's a CEO successor. And then within 60 days, she quickly left, and now she's starting her own business. Very quick.
Okay.
But her business proposition is very interesting. She's doing it manually, but she wants to turn it into a SaaS product, which is very smart. Do things manually first. Don't go building software you don't even know if people even want.
Yes.
So she's doing this manually, and I have pressure tested her to go out there and collect clients and collect them for free to get feedback back from those clients. So their commitment needs to be the time and energy it takes to provide feedback back to her. And this is on a limited scope, like 90 days. She has gotten 20 clients in the last 30-ish days or so. And so she's now maxed. And so we're spending 90 days just having her exercise what the SaaS solution would do, but do it manually. And then essentially they can pay after these 90 days, but the concept is on a weekly basis, they must provide feedback. And she's gotten a lot of fantastic feedback. Now think about it. That ensures that her MVP is 1,000 times better than if she wouldn't have gotten that feedback in the first place. But then I talked to her this week just on your thought is I said, okay, so you have 20 people, they're loving it. You're going to continue this path of this 90 days. We're probably 30 so days in. And so I want you to think about if you have 10 times the amount of customers. Now you're on a SaaS solution. How are you operating this business on the inside? Who do you need? And so she's working out that plan because I usually ask these high-level ambiguous questions on some level, right? I let them sort of figure out what they can, and then we get back together the next week and I help them iron out the actual details. You know, so I'm not doing it for them. I'm letting them go figure it out. But essentially, I want her to go figure out what is she going to need when this thing gets 10 times bigger and she's no longer running it manually, but she's sitting on a SaaS solution. So she has to think about kind of this in twofold because the operating and the business model are changing at exactly the same time. So that is kind of how I like to go about things. You need to really prove things out in a manual mode. In a way that shows and proves to you there's going to be real demand on the table. We can all get 5 friends, but given that she's gotten 20 B2B clients, that tells me she probably has something that's really worth something. The other thing is I told her to go talk to a couple people she's in Omaha. I told her to go talk to a couple folks in Omaha that are in a similar industry, not exactly the same, but in a similar industry because she's going to get different perspectives. So spend the time networking with people that have experience, might feel like they're a little bit ahead of you, that are willing to offer up some time and advice.
Yeah, that's great. So I think that's kind of best practice for prototype build, doing customer discovery first, because it's so much less expensive than trying to like build a wireframe or build an MVP that not knowing that people will want.
Right.
Because it is expensive. I mean, the coding can be expensive, like when you have to hire a shop and different things. So I love that idea. How do you feel the community here is for growth for women in Omaha compared to other places you've lived? Do you feel like this is a supportive community for entrepreneurialism? What do you think it sets it apart?
I think it starts with the foundation that we're just that Nebraska nice, to be honest. I think it really does start with the foundation. Now that could work against us a little bit because there could be traditional norms that we're dealing with too. But you know, if you're in New York, no one's helping anybody. I'm sorry, New York. I love New York, but no one's helping anyone.
If you smile at them, they're going to think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Don't smile at anybody on the streets of New York because they're like, what's with the crazy person?
One of my
smiles?
favorite cities, though.
And
I do have friends there.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't say none of this is ever 100%, right? Ever.
I have to tell you this.
Yeah.
My daughter went to NYU and
Oh,
she
right.
met her husband, her 10 years later husband, freshman year in the elevator, and it's because she smiled at his roommate, and the roommate went back to the room and said, "This girl was just flirting with me." And she's like, "I'm from the Midwest. I smile at everybody."
Yeah, exactly.
Was flirting with nobody, but the fact that he's like, "This girl, I just met a girl in the elevator. She smiled at me. She must like me." She did not.
Yeah, right. You
That's
know,
funny.
it's also, I don't know, I mean, I'm going to say something that maybe not everybody's going to like, but it is true. Women do compete with women the most, okay? So men do not compete with other men. They're kind of patting each other on the back, and now they're not exactly going to help each other out either, but they don't do this competition thing that we've done, and it's getting better. I think it's meaningfully better in towns of this size. It's kind of a mid-sized town. We have a lot of women's group that you and I will see each other at. We love to help each other out. And I think that is getting better over the course of time. And that's what that obstacle needs to get cleared in order for women founders to help other women founders out, is our own obstacle, regardless of whether you live in Omaha or Los Angeles or Nashville or wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that could be perspective too. And I don't know if it's because I've been back to Omaha for, and building this for the last 15 years. I don't feel like that competition is there. I don't see it as much as I did when I was in engineering and working with all men.
Right? Yeah.
And I think it was like that 80s or 90s like mentality, like if there's two women, only one of you are going to succeed. And I think I've just been working my entire career to get that rid of and be the boss that like helps lift other people up.
Right.
Learn, teaching people to self-advocate, making sure that you have what you need and be able to step forward.
Yep.
Also, it's a huge issue with me. If you're going to step forward and complain, you better have some kind of solution.
Sure.
Don't just complain and that's kind of what I think entrepreneurial spirit is. It's like you see a problem that exists. How can you bring a solution forward to fix that problem and make the world better?
Right.
I mean, maybe that's just Pollyanna of me, but I want to live in that space. I want to live in the space that you have power to like change trajectories.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting better, but it still is a real issue. Like I'm in plenty of environments with all men, and I think the problem is sometimes you don't have your voice doesn't get out there as a woman. That may be the issue, but there's never competition or jealousy or anything like that going on. Yeah. The minute you put another woman in the room, that sort of happens at times. It doesn't happen other times. It does happen. So I think in the end, if we can continue to erode that, push that down, get that out of the way, and I steer clear of competition, jealousy, it just makes me want to throw up. There's no need for it, but the reality is we sort of grew up that way too. There's some childhood stuff, that is talked about all the time where we grow up as single, right? And we're not even growing up in a team environment as much as men are growing up in team environments. And that has caused a little bit of that, but it is going away and it's nice. And I love Omaha and I don't see it a whole lot around here, which is even better.
Yeah, that's great. Our final segment is the LFG segment. So the launch, fun, grind.
Oh, not let's fucking go?
We can let's fucking go. But we're also going to like launch, fun, and grind. Okay. So talking about women entrepreneurs, what do you think the biggest mental hurdle is for women on starting something, like becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, I mean, we're the biggest owners of the imposter syndrome.
Is that true?
We own
I talk to
it.
women all the time. They're so successful, and they're like talking about their doubts,
anecdotal.
and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's a reality. That's why you should get around other women.
Yes.
Because we can support you and get you out of that imposter syndrome. But that, to me, it's the fear factor. And I'm not good enough, or I'm not the one that should start this business. Yeah. But the other thing is women don't understand financials. That's, I have worked with enough female founders who I have successfully taught how do you use financials to grow your business? How do you use financials to make decisions? And most women I work with on the front end do not understand their financials to the degree that it really matters to run a business. So financials is a fear for women on some level.
So is it equally important that they understand it as to getting in a partner that can like manage it? Can they find somebody else
I see that excuse all the
don't
time.
give it away. Don't give the power away.
No, don't. Well, it's not about the power. I mean, yes, hire an accountant and hire a bookkeeper to do all things. But the business person has to look at the income statement as that is my business story, and that is where my decisions for the future are going to come from. If business decisions do not come from your income statement or your balance sheet, you're probably not making the right decisions. So it's a business conversation. You can have a CFO, a controller, a this, a that. Highly encourage it because you don't want to do all that work. But you do need to understand it well enough to make a decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a missing component.
Yeah. Talking about funding, we've heard the horrid statistics. Less than 3% of VC funding go to women. I think it's up to 30% of SBA loans.
Yep.
A lot of times, though, women don't have access to collateral or capital to sometimes get those loans. What advice would you give to women starting up if they are looking to fund a business?
Well, that particular area, I'm not as involved in, but I have good partners that are involved in that. But what I would say is what I have heard, and this goes right in line with what I've experienced, is they aren't good at pitching their own business. They don't know how to pitch their own business. They don't know how their funds are going to get utilized. I just talked to a lady yesterday, love her business. I've been wanting to talk to her for a long time, but she wants to take out a new amount of funding and over half of it would go to debt. Well, investors don't really want to hear that, right? So what she doesn't understand is, and she's getting ghosted, and I put money on it that my partners who understand funding a lot, they said women don't pitch even half as well as men do. And it probably goes back to imposter syndrome,
like, is that
confidence, financial knowledge, things like that. So it still goes back to the core of what we just talked about. And it probably also goes back to we're sometimes not the best at business development. We're not out there selling ourselves. We're not out there selling our business well enough and getting that practice. So for any women that I would talk to, I'm always going to help them in that area so that they are a lot more confident and get a lot more practice around how are you pitching your business.
Yeah. One of the things I hate to see is when women undercut themselves and they come in with apologies. Or they're like, oh, I'm sorry about this. Like they undercut their statement with apology, or like they're just don't own it, right? I mean, that really takes the confidence level down when you don't even have the confidence to like say what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think that pitching is important.
And women will, if investors shake them up, which they do that, right? They try to do that.
Yeah.
Women get shooken up.
Like flustered.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is something to practice.
Communication.
And not getting flustered.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
100%. So the last part is that grind. What do you think is the consistent thing that women entrepreneurs can do to be successful in their business? Like, is there certain things that they do? Like today, so the first thing you asked me is like, are you busy? Or is that, what did you call it? High level? Are you working in the high level?
Work on the big rocks. When you're if you're in this kind of startup stage, you're going to have to work on everything. You're just going to have to grind. And actually, I was telling the gal yesterday when I talked to her, I said, you are just going to have to work really hard. You're going to have to spend a lot of time on this.
So many buckets.
So many buckets.
Rock here.
But my whole point is like at these certain milestones, which we need to plan out, is getting it to a point where it has more operational scale. So grind is in certain places that make sense and that have high impact, but we're not grinding to, get an invoice out the door. We're not grinding to put a product on our website. We're not doing those kinds of things. We found efficient ways of getting all that stuff done. But I think this is where I think women are have a super strength. We are grinders.
Yeah.
We will get a lot of shit done in a very short period of time. The thing is when does that become a weakness? It is a strength up front, and you have to continuously make it a strength by focusing it in the right direction, and getting your grind to go towards high impact or big rocks, rather than just your grind is just going all the way across the board. That's when it becomes a weakness. But that in it of itself, grind is to me one of the woman's like superpowers.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm really important to me is I shut the book at the end of the day, and like I've done everything I can possibly today, and I'm going to let it go.
Yep.
Because I need downtime. I have to have downtime. I protect that. I protect my nights and weekends as much as I possibly can, because I know that I'm better to show up the next day and like go, rather than like I'm going to work up till 10 o'clock tonight and then I'm going to get up early tomorrow morning. And I think as moms too, like we need to have that permission to say, okay, this is work time. This is my partner time. This is my family time. Because there's a lot that we have to do. We're juggling a lot.
Yep.
So being able to prioritize, I think, is really important.
Yep. I think if you also look longevity-wise, and I've learned this just because I am old, is, I worked a lot in the first, 20s and 30s. I worked a lot. I was a single parent, solo parent, which means I was the only parent. And I also, I still had to go get my bachelor's degree and my master's degree throughout the time of me being a single parent. And I had a full-time job the whole time. And I worked my butt off to get to the executive level. And I had a lot of hours invested in that time. And I do more now. I have more salary now. My daughter will be 30 in 2 weeks. And I spend more time on my play. I spend more time relaxing. So, I mean, I look at it as longer, not just like daily or weekly or monthly. I look at it as like this 3 decades, the 2 decades give me the next 2 decades some room to breathe, relax.
Yes.
You've
earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think we have earned it.
Yeah.
How can people follow you on your journey, or how can they get in touch with you if they want to learn more about joining your groups?
Yeah, and you'll put links, I think.
Absolutely, links will
so
be in there.
just join me on LinkedIn. I'm on every day. I love LinkedIn. So Jennifer DiMotta on LinkedIn, or you can go to uprisors.com and sign up for our newsletter, or you can email me at jennifer@uprisors.com. Feel free.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. All right. Well, I love this. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for taking your time to sit with me. Thank you to Legends Coffee and Comics for having us here in their space. I'm loving the Edgar Allan Poe behind here. My dog's named Poe, like after the Edgar Allan Poe.
So cool.
So thank you so much. Until next week, LFG with AQi. Bye.
With as hard as life can be, I wouldn't ask to change a thing.